I am a Japanese dude having been a shut-in aka Hikikomori for 10 years, currently developing a Hikikomori-themed video game myself for 3 years. Last IamA changed my life, so I came back here to thank all of you guys. IamA.
If you are successful with Pulse Stay, do you plan to stay in game dev and make more games? Any ideas for new games?
Yeah, I'd definitely love to make more games. I have 4 rough game ideas at the moment, but all of them have each unique challenge and I need to figure out how to make them real. I think I need to expand my game dev connections and borrow their help and wisdom. D.
What is your coding knowledge? Would you be interested and capable in assisting in app development for the renewable energy sector?
Unfortunately, I have no coding skills because I'm just using a visual scripting tool in UE4. But thank you so much for offering a great opportunity.
Congrats on getting Pulse Stay funded. I've been following it since your last IamA. This time, your YouTube interview with Sean just blew up, like 4 months after release. Did you manage to work the YouTube algorithm or did you just get lucky?
Hello, old friend. Thank you. Yeah, it feels miracle by all means. I still can't feel it's real honestly. We didn't do ads or anything. Sean said before our video was going pretty well compared to other videos, so it's possible YouTube eventually picks up our video smile.
Exclamation mark folded hands, folded hands.
Exclamation mark.
How can we support or encourage a family member that is, like you, a hikikomori? Any good advices of how to confront them? Edit, to get them out of their shell.
Finding a reachable goal is the most important point, emo. It's difficult and should be different from person to person, but I think there is something family members/friends can help a hikikomori. I would never realize my English is usable if I had not posted on Reddit and be said that by Redditors. Other people's perspective/experience can save a hikikomori in some cases. I think so.
As a former alt who taught English in Japan, I would be super proud if any of my students could someday learn to write in English as well as you can. It's really not easy. You've accomplished a lot.
Thank you.
I know many people who live in isolation struggle when they have to talk and interact with others, but that's not true for everyone. Is there anything you have a hard time with when you need to go out?
Going outside is not a problem for me. My struggle is working in the usual working environment. When I worked in Tokyo and commuted by train, I couldn't help but feel my life was meaningless.
I'm a college student and I feel the same as you. I'm already a partial hikimori, but it's practically impossible for me to be fully hikimori. My surroundings and family does not allow that. I'm very close to killing myself. What advice do you have for me?
I had relied on my family until 2 summers ago. I'm still struggling with my life as a hikikomori. So I am the last person who can give you advice. But if you think about suicide, you need to leave your place or change your environment, I guess. Sorry for not being able to become your help.
I live in upstate NY, USA, and I feel the same. I've never been able to convince myself working as generic job was what I'm supposed to do in life. Problem is I've never been able to find what I'm good at, so I've all but given up at this point. Just backed your Kickstarter, glad to see that reached its goal at least.
I can't thank you enough for your kindest support. Seriously, man. I know how devastating these days were for me. I will never forget I am supported by people like you. Thank you.
I feel the same way. I don't think you're alone in this feeling. I have anxiety and struggle to work as an adult. Thank you for sharing your experience and I eagerly await Pulse Stay.
Thank you for your sympathy and support.
I find this a really interesting perspective. In the West, we tend to romanticize the Japanese way of life and its structure. Coming from an impoverished background, that monotony seems kind of pleasant. Was there a moment for you that was particularly soul-crushing? A definitive moment?
I experienced a handful of jobs in Tokyo. Coworkers were surprisingly friendly in general. I thank them a lot. Especially I had a guy who had a very interesting personality and we got along with very well. But I hated my working time so hard that I needed to kill my emotions and make me a zombie at the office. As the result, I never wanted to meet my coworkers on my weekends and hang around with them. I realized I don't like them but hate them in the ultimate sense together with my work. It was a devastating realization for me. Edit, typo.
Do you feel like it's because of the people around you or do you just have a preference for working alone?
Yeah, I think I prefer working alone.
Do you think people like you struggle with this because of the Japanese working environment in particular, or is it a problem everywhere?
I'm curious about this too. My gut feeling tells it won't change wherever though.
This is not related to Pulse Stay and I just wanted to know you better. I'm really curious about the kind of music you like and listen to and what are your favorite food items or some snacks that you really like?
When I was a high school student, I came to know progressive rock and it blew me up because I found a completely another musical world different from the hit chart songs. So they are my basic music taste. A couple of years ago I found and fell in love with lo-fi / mixtape / vaporwave / future funk genres. Thanks to YouTube algorithm, Winking Face, link redacted, is my favorite guy, D. I love curry rice and cheesecake.
If you like lo-fi, check out Nujabes.
Yeah, I love him. Have an album.
Hey man, if you love Kurt Bada, check out Jason Sanders. Some great vaporwave mixes from him. Smile.
Thanks man. Yeah, I love his mixes too. YouTube recommendation is quite useful, isn't that? Winking Face.
I recently started living alone and I'm having a hard time adapting to spending time alone in a positive way. As a shut-in, do you get sufficient fulfillment from the projects you work on / how is the social aspect of being a hikikomori?
Yeah, it's a great question. Finding a good and right game idea / plan is very difficult but crucially important emo. For fulfillments, and also for commercial prospect. I abandoned a handful of game plans before starting the current project. As for social aspect, indie game development requires you tons of self-promotions. That enforced me stepping out of my self-isolation during developing the current project, D.
If your plans don't work out, have you given any thought to seeking therapy so you can rejoin the workforce?
I don't believe any therapy gives me the meaning of life.
Yo, what's the most beep insane way you can defeat someone in your game?
Making him into a tempura and flushing him into the toilet.
I just realized I need this game.
Thank you.
Why would you waste a tasty tempura?
Because you need to ditch your urge of cannibalism, Omega.
How accurate is Welcome to the NHK? Not talking about the sometimes wacky plots, but the general idea?
I only read its original novel before I became a hikikomori. Honestly, I don't remember it well. Sorry about that.
Why are you a hikikomori? I mean, is it psychological? Sorry, I just found out about this 2 minutes ago, so I don't know if I am being offensive.
I talked about my story on the last IamA and on Sean's video. So please check them. But shortly put, I can't stand usual working environment and tried to become a doujin artist, but it didn't work out. Then 10 years have passed. Thank you for your question. It's not offensive at all.
What kind of games do you play or used to play? And what inspired you to start developing one yourself?
I used to play and enjoy the most beat-em-up games like Final Fight. That's the reason I chose to make this genre as my first commercial title, because I know the great points and also lacking points of this genre. I didn't think I could make a commercial game by myself alone. But I lost all the hope to sustain my living in Japanese doujin market, so I had no choice other than challenging the global market via Steam. My whole life desire is making my own artworks and living on them. So yeah, this is my last resort, Omega.
I can't even imagine making my own game. I'm too much of a coward for that. I admire people like you the most, Nito-san. What you're doing requires a lot of courage and determination. You're doing great, and I hope your efforts will pay off in the future. I wish you the best, /.
Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, the hardest point of game development for me is the lack of actual experience. It has required full guesswork without any clue so frequently.
I've read that you were originally a writer, so. What kind of stories did you write? Would you like to go back to writing one day, or would you prefer to develop your stories in game form, making more complex and story-driven games?
I prefer uncategorized imaginary weird tales like Jorge Luis Borges. Actually, there were this kind of imaginary writers in Japan in the early 20th century. Their imaginary visions consoled me as a frustrated youth. But they are almost forgotten in Japan nowadays. I tried writing so-called light novel to cater to otaku market in Japan. It was a big mistake of my life. Yeah, I'd love to make story-driven games. Language barrier is a still big challenge for me. So I need to figure out how to overcome it if I make story games. Smile.
Who are the Japanese authors you mentioned? Which books?
Edogawa Rampo, Yumino Kyosaku, Miyazawa Kenji, Makino Shinichi, Ogawa Mimiai, for name some.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.